Hello and welcome to West Wales, and in this video I'm going to be updating you on the dye garden. I'm going to be reflecting on a year of YouTubing. I've got a progress report on the weaving project I started in the last video, plus I've been saving a really special location to take you at the end of the video for our breath of fresh air. If you're new here, my name is Becca and I'm a hand spinner, knitter, gardener and all-round creative person, and you are very, very welcome to my local woodland in North Pembrokeshire, West Wales. If you're an old friend, welcome back. Lovely to have you here. So I'm just going to turn the camera around, show you where we're walking today, and after that we'll go back to the house. So see you in a moment. I've had to put Millie on the lead for a couple of reasons. We're going to go and walk along the causeway, which is part of the wildlife reserve, and dogs need to be on the lead. Plus, she's just found a dead mole that she's trying desperately to go back and, I don't know, eat, bury. I don't quite know what she's going to do with it. So she is on the lead. But here we are. This is the nature reserve, and it is full of the most beautiful wildflowers and bulrushes and wildlife. Not that we're likely to see much of the wildlife. You can see there's my little village up above there, and as ever you can't see where we live because we're hidden behind the hill. So let's walk on a little further. It's late July and the dye garden really is coming into its own, and I've just harvested the first of the marigolds to do my first dye with specifically grown dye plants, because although I've done lots and lots of dyeing, I generally have always foraged for my dye plants and dye materials. This is the first year I've grown it specifically, but I am going to turn the camera around in a moment and just show you everything that's in flower, because there are lots of things that grow in the garden that actually we can use for dye. So it's been a little while since we had a tour around the garden, so I thought it would probably be about the right time. So let's turn the camera around and see what's in flower. We call this area our micro orchard, and as you can see, the fruit is beginning to swell, so hopefully we will get a harvest this year. And the other thing that's looking really good is the thornless bramble. Of course, another great dye plant, brambles, and you can use the leaves, the stems, the fruits once they're ripe, and you can use obviously the wild ones. And I have so many berries from last year still in the freezer that I might actually just use them in a dye. Now, this is where I've been growing the marigolds, and you can see they've had all their heads snipped off. And I am in the process of creating a dye bath, which will be a different video, I think. And as ever in my garden, there's quite a lot of weeds, but marjoram, tops of marjoram, you get a purple from. Now these are sunflowers that are suffering a little bit because it's so hot and windy here. They really have not enjoyed this. You'd think they would love it, but I think it's just been too windy for them. These are not the Hopi Indian ones that you get the dye from, but you can get a dye from just regular sunflower seeds. It's just not as good as the one that you get from the Hopi Indian sunflowers. And then just let's have a look around here, what we've got going on down here. Okay, now heather, get a dye from that. Now this is garden mint. The best dye is from peppermint, and this is suffering a little bit with rust, as it quite often does. And what have we got down here? Dyer's chamomile, and I think that's going to be my next dyeing experiment. And just coming to the end of the harvest of the loganberries. Again, another potential dye plant, but I prefer eating them to dyeing with them. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that this box was full of carrots and we've harvested them. Carrot tops, another excellent dye. Now all these little trees will get pruned and you can get a dye from the prunings. So we've got apples, pears and plums. Then this is a very sunny border, and we've got oregano, and again you can get a colour from oregano. So let's go and see how the front is doing. Growing in amongst the borders is yarrow, strictly speaking a weed, but fantastic for dyeing. Roses create a lovely dye, not the beautiful pink of the petals, but a more subtle muted green. A lovely orange can be obtained from dahlias, all dahlias. And growing in the wildlife garden, hemp agrami. Not a great colour, but it's always worth experimenting. Then we have bay and willow, both which create a lovely colour. The woad is nearly ready to harvest, so I'm just weeding through to make sure that it gets the best opportunity to grow as many leaves as possible. Then finally weld. So I just had a message yesterday from YouTube to say I have been posting YouTube videos for a year. I couldn't quite believe it, and my goodness, the time has absolutely flown by. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to just reflect a little bit on what's been good, what's not been good, and maybe give you a little bit of advice if you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel. So my very quick advice is, yeah, do it. It's great. It's really good fun. Don't expect to make a fortune because, you know, they are the people that make a lot of money out of it. Yeah, they do it full time and it's a job, and my goodness, they're dedicated. I think you can make a little bit of pin money, and that is great. And certainly when I set out to do this, my idea was that I wanted to have enough money to pay for the software that I use, which is not very expensive, and then just pay for a few things to demonstrate on the channel, and that was it. And I knew that potentially that could take a couple of years, and I'm still not there, but I'm a lot closer than I was. So I'm gonna carry on my walk, and as little thoughts pop into my head, because, you know, I am a middle-aged woman, so I don't necessarily have all the thoughts absolutely at the top of my mind all of the time, I will share them with you. Okay, right. See, mine's gone blank. Oh, I'll have to walk on and something will come to me. The thing I absolutely did not expect was the community. And my goodness, yes, just amazing. And I've really loved getting to internet know all these amazing, incredible, talented fibre artists from across the globe. And I really do mean from across the globe. And it was a huge surprise to me. I hadn't really cottoned on to that at all when I started it. And it is absolutely, hands down, the best thing about YouTube. I am on Instagram. I mean, I blow hot and cold about Instagram, and people talk about building a community on Instagram. I've never really given it enough time to do that. I actually think that if you want to build a community, YouTube is the place. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for commenting and liking and sharing the videos, and teeth back in. So I don't know, who is it? Somebody on here says that my videos are like, you need to play bingo with my videos, because at some point I'm going to have to say, put your teeth back in. And what's the other thing I'm going to say? Oh, lots of other things that I always say. Anyway, yes. So thank you if you joined my newsletter. And I know I said it would be weekly. I just do not manage that. And I actually think maybe it's going to go monthly, because I just don't get around to it, which is a shame, because I really do enjoy writing it, and I have been trying to focus on writing it. But lots of other things happen, particularly in the summer. It's a very busy time because I've got the bees and the garden, and Andrew and I go out and about in the beautiful countryside. Andrew's taking photographs, I'm walking and painting, and all the things that I do. So yeah, yes, and I've lost my train of thought again. So yeah, community is amazing, has been an amazing thing that I just didn't expect, so thank you. Okay, so going to go on a little bit further and see if something else just pops into my head. One of the things that I have to say is you can be really creative with making videos, and I've absolutely loved doing that, and just playing around with different shots and different transitions and adding music. And music is one of the things that actually does cost me quite a lot of money a month. That's like 16 quid a month, because I use a company called Epidemic Sound. Yeah, that's what they're called. And I could use free music, but you don't really get a great selection. And I really like the music you get on Epidemic Sound. By having that subscription, I do actually support other creatives, because people write this music, they upload it, and then they get a percentage of the subscription when I use their track. So it's although it's royalty free, they do still get something out of it. So that's been really great, and I'm still learning about the editing. I'm still not there, and editing on my phone is probably how I'm going to keep going, because my computer just cannot cope with editing software. It just goes, no, going to shut down. So I have been editing on my phone since it started, and really it's going to stay like that. I am going to have to buy a different microphone, because I have had quite a few comments that sometimes the sound is not that clear. So fingers crossed. I've got a birthday coming up at the end of the month, and I'm going to get a new microphone, so that will be really good. So if you're thinking you want to start a channel and you haven't got a camera, yes you do, because if you've got a smartphone, you've got a camera that is good enough to make YouTube videos. Because the thing that actually makes or breaks the YouTube video is not the quality of your camera, it's actually lighting and sound. And I've sort of learned that the hard way. So those are things that I really want to improve in the year to come. So new microphone, and do something about the lighting. And the lighting is one of the reasons that I quite often film outside, because obviously natural daylight is your friend, and particularly in the summer we have an abundance of it, and in the winter I did find it a bit more challenging to actually film when the light was going. So I am going to try and invest in some kind of lighting. Right, okay, so let's wait until another thought pops in my head. Before I started, I watched quite a lot of videos about sort of how to start a YouTube channel, and a lot of them were very focused on people who want to make a living out of it. And as I've said before many times, not really what I was looking to do. But I did get some really good tips from a guy called Ali Abdul, and he is a huge YouTuber, and he's a British ex-doctor. He was an NHS doctor, decided that maybe it wasn't for him being a doctor, and he's kind of started this whole YouTube empire. He, however, does have a really, really good course on Skillshare. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Skillshare, it is a platform almost a little bit like YouTube in lots of ways, but you have to pay for it. It's around about the £20 a month mark, but quite often you can get sort of a free trial for 7 days. Do have to make sure you cancel it if you don't want to carry on, otherwise they will just take the money out of your bank. But if you just want to do this one course, Ali Abdul, he does this great course on there, basically how to do YouTube in, I think it's about a 2-hour course, something like that. That was the best piece of information that I got, and I'm so glad I did it. And I was actually a member of Skillshare at the time, so it didn't cost me any more than I was already paying for my subscription. So don't listen to all the people who tell you have to upload twice a week, and I listened to them and it nearly burnt me out. So yeah, just do what's right for you. And I know I don't have a regular uploading schedule, and I know I should do, but it just doesn't really work with the way my life is. So this is fun and a hobby, and you've been so generous at saying, you know what, Rebecca, that's fine. If you can only upload once a month, you can only upload once a month. So I thank you for that generosity. And my advice, if you want to start a YouTube channel, is do what's right for you, because you are an individual and you can't just do it, don't do what everybody else does. Do what's right for you. Okay, so let's go on a little bit further. That view does not get old. And one of the big surprises to me was how much people have enjoyed me showing just a beautiful countryside around where I live. And I did it very tentatively to start with, because I didn't think people would be that interested. I thought they just wanted the crafting information. But people have been delighted to see the wonderful world of West Wales, and specifically North Pembrokeshire, because we very rarely go anywhere other than North Pembrokeshire and just within a sort of 15-mile radius of where we live. So that was a surprise and a delight, because, as I hope you can tell, I love living here, and I literally cannot ever imagine living anywhere else. Maybe one day I will have to, but at the moment I want to carry on living here. Okay, next port of call. So I've come to the end of the walk. Home is down there, and I'm going to say goodbye for today. And I'm really enjoying doing these longer sort of vlog style videos. I've said it before, the how-tos always get more views, and that's fine, and I will keep doing the how-tos, but I really love making these longer videos, and people have said that they really like the longer videos, so thank you so much. And if I think of anything else as the week goes on, and I'm sort of probably filming this over a few days, then I will add it at some point. So I will see you probably tomorrow. So bye. I'm back home and doing one of my favourite tasks, which is ironing my tea towels. But as you can see, quite a lot of my tea towels have holes like this in them. And the reason for that is when Millie was a very, very little puppy, she was obsessed with chewing fabric, and she got into the washing basket and did that. But she did it more than once, so I can really only blame myself for having tea towels that looks like that, because I really should have stopped her from doing it. And I also am a little bit embarrassed because the really needs cleaning. All right, for tea towels, not so much if I'm going to do any dressmaking. So I'm going to have to get that sorted out before I do anything other than iron slightly chewed tea towels. And you see, I did this the last time I was ironing and talking. I realised that I'm looking down, so I can't look at you, which is not good really. Quite rude, isn't it? But okay, we'll see how far we can go. I might get really self-conscious about doing this and not actually want to carry on, because I really am looking down. So anyway, yes, have I had any more thoughts about a year on YouTube? Yes, I have. And really, I've kind of taken a bit of action on a couple of things, and I've been umming and ahhing about whether I should carry on with my website that had a blog on it, and I've taken the decision, no, I have more than enough things to do, so I am going to take down the website, mainly just because it's coming up for renewal and I have to pay a couple of £100 to have it, which I guess in the big scheme of things is not that much, but I don't know, I never really kind of made full use of it. But I will still keep writing the newsletter, but that is going to be monthly. And one of the reasons is that I've sort of found my graphic design mojo again, and I'm really working on my store where I sell templates, and I sell those on Zazzle. And if you're playing Rebecca's video bingo, then you'll know that yes, I do talk about that quite a lot. But that's because I spend quite a lot of time doing it. I really enjoy it. At the moment I'm working on baby showers. I don't use much of my own artwork. I quite often buy graphics from other people, mainly just because really the type of artwork I do is not really suitable for that type of product. I mean, I do sometimes use my own illustrations, and I've always used a mixture of my illustrations, vintage illustrations, and illustrations that I've bought from other people. So it's like clip art that I've licensed from other artists. And you know, I really, really love the design side of it more than I love creating illustrations that I'm not that interested in doing, really. I mean, I like painting flowers for my garden. I like painting birds. There you go, birds. But that's not really suitable for a baby shower. So, you know, I buy clip art from an artist who does make illustrations that's suitable for a baby shower. So, and I find that works quite well. And I certainly, you know, I don't sell my products as only having artwork from me on it. That would be different if I did, but I don't. I mean, I'm very open about the way I go about my business. So, right. The next thing I wanted to do was actually update you on a project that I started a couple of videos ago, which was a little sort of map that I'm making on a frame loom, and it's just behind the camera, so I will go and get it. I'll just finish ironing this tea towel, and I'll just show you how far I've got. So you might remember that I walked this up and I was really not sure I was doing it correctly, and I had some really good comments on for the next time I do it. But as you can see, I've kind of done a little bit, and I'm quite liking the way it looks. It's very slow without a shedding device, but yeah, so pleased with that. But I thought I would just show you sort of where it's at, because I did say that's what I was going to do at the start of the video. I'm trying to stick to a plan, which, you know, with my brain that goes off at a tangent, not always that easy. So there you go, that's where that is. Right, okay, so let's put it back. Right, back to ironing and chatting. Now the other thing that I really want to do is design some new tea towels, and I have been umming and ahhing as to how I'm going to do that. I know I could weave my own tea towels, and incredibly talented people who are in the community most definitely can and do weave their own tea towels. I really am not one of those people. So as my strength is more on the illustration side and the natural dyeing side, I did sort of think I would do some possibly natural dyeing and then block printing. And I wonder if I've got one of my block printed tea towels. No, I haven't. But I have got a block printed tea towel that was an experiment, and I've learned quite a lot since then. So I might have a go at that. So that's definitely something for the channel in the future. Then ages and ages and ages ago, I started what I call my jar of possibilities, which is a jar full of projects that I want to do. And I pulled one out ages and ages ago, a little slip of paper with one of the projects that I wanted to do, which was to make some lip balm as Christmas presents for my family. And we're finally at a point where I think I might actually do it. So the plan for the next few weeks on the channel is a mixture of how-tos and vlogs. And I probably said it at the beginning of this video, but as I started this video quite a few days ago, I might not have said it, I probably did say it, but yeah, so my how-tos always get more views, but generally it's people who just want to see how to do something, and they don't particularly subscribe to the channel, and they don't particularly, they're not that interested in my my vloggy stuff and my project updates. Which, that's just the nature of YouTube. You have to kind of accept that when you do it. So, that is sort of the plan going forward. As I've said before, I love showing you the different places where the little dig dog and I go for our walks. I will try and include some more of the accessible walks in Pembrokeshire. But it just, really it depends whether we're going there or not. So I'm down to just about my last tea towel, so I'm going to leave it there. And of course, it wouldn't be one of my videos without a trip out to one of our lovely local walks. And so I'm going to finish doing what I'm doing, and you, by the magic of editing, are going to go for a walk with me. So I will see you in but a moment. I have been saving this trip for a special occasion, and I think after my 1 year anniversary, this is it. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you where we are. We are at a church. Not that surprising for me, but it is a very ancient church. And most of the headstones here are sort of 18th, 19th century. However, we are going to go round the corner and there's something quite unusual. And there it is, a Celtic cross. But not only is there a Celtic cross here, there is also something else and something else. Tucked around the corner is an ancient Viking standing stone with Viking version of writing, not quite an alphabet yet, but an early form of writing. And this indicates the crossover between the Viking culture and the early Celtic Christian culture. This was probably a sacred site long before there was a church here, and people incorporated places where they had worshipped an old religion with the new religion. And it's quite common to see a crossover between the two, particularly in this part of West Wales. This Celtic cross is very typical of the type of monuments that you will find in West Wales and in Ireland. So you may notice behind me, that a lot of the churchyard is not cut, and that's on purpose. It's for the insects and the wildlife, and once the flowers are over, they cut it. And sort of in the winter, if you come here, it's much, I was going to say tidier, that's the wrong word really, but it's all been cut down, and then it grows up again in the spring and the summer, and the birds and butterflies and other lovely insects get to enjoy it. Now we are going to go for just a little walk, not very far, but it's like a little secret path, and it's sort of in someone's garden, so I always feel a bit naughty when I go through here, but it is a public footpath, so we should be fine. All right. Or is it too scary? So we've come in the evening, so it's lovely and shady, and there were still quite a few people here when we arrived. Have just about down to one car. So if you do come here, there is permission from the pub to actually use their car park. And it's a nice pub, so obviously make a day of it. Come and see the sights here, go and have your lunch. As with most churches, it's pretty accessible. I would say this path up here, Andrew has been up here in the wheelchair, but he didn't really enjoy the experience. So I think it is a bit of a no-no sort of up past this bit. But we're parked at the top, so we're going to walk back up here to where the car is parked. And Millie's had a lovely time exploring. She does love a bit of long grass, and there's plenty of long grass here, and there's steps and all sorts of things. And she has very good recall, so I'm never concerned that she's going to run off. But obviously I've got my lead to hand if we meet people, or when we're going to the church. So there we go, back underneath the tree to the little secret entrance. Well, it's not really very secret. It just feels quite secret. Time for the dog to go back on the lead.